Alright, let's get into cloaks. So cloaks basically just have to fit you at the shoulders, and then down at the bottom they can do whatever. They can go whoosh. There's more than one way to do that. Let's start with a rectangle. This way, you just start with a rectangle, cut out a little hole for the head. Keep in mind this is only half of the front of a cloak. So you cut out a hole for your head, and then you slope down a little bit for your shoulder like that. And then you can just go whoosh out like that. And then at the bottom right here, all you have to do is curve that a little bit to make sure your hem actually lies flat. And then there you got a quarter of a cloak. Now you can also use a circle as the base of your cloak so that the bottom is extra whooshy. So you basically got a circle, cut a hole out in the middle for your head, cut it down the front, you got a cloak right there. Just like with circle skirts, you don't have to use the whole circle. You could use a half circle. I've seen this done for medieval half capes. Or you could even use a quarter of a circle. I've also done some cloaks before where you start with a bodice and then you extend that to make it a little bit longer. You take this armhole and you go out like that, curve it at the bottom. So then you could take this sleeve piece, here's that sleeve head, go out at the bottom, and then this sleeve cap gets sewn into the shoulder just like before, and instead of fitting around your arm it goes whoosh, but it still fits up at your shoulder. It gives you a nice cinched in fitted look at the top, but whoosh and drama at the bottom. I've legitimately seen cloaks that are just rectangles with this top edge scrunched down to fit around the neck and then this bottom edge left up big. Now remember this simple shape at the beginning where this is the front, this is the side, you got 4 of these, and you sew them together. Well, let's say you want to add an arm slit. We just add a seam right in there, and then you sew up to here, but you leave in there open. There, you got an arm slit, just like with your princess seams. Now, if you want to add a hood, you can take this shape up at the top, go back to the hood video that I did before, and add a hood to your cloak. I personally have had a few clients express interest recently in those really big cloak things that also have sleeves. Basically, you start with the bodice block, you just take the underarm and really make it go out like a lot, and then you take this sleeve and then you make it kind of big like that. And then you sew this, leave the armhole open, and then boom, you got a sleeve in your cloak. You could sew a shorter cloak on top of the longer cloak for like a double cloak look. That is very common these days. And then it's just literally attached up at the neck right here. Anyways, cloaks are super fun and easy, and that is why all of my winter coats are cloaks.